For those of you fortunate enough to be participating in my 208 hours Kaizen self-help program, you're getting to view a video that is long. That means you really invested in me, and I can't thank you enough. You're fortunate, and I'm extremely fortunate to have you. And this may be the last video you ever watch of mine because it just didn't tip your trigger, and that's okay. I'm not mad. Don't give up on me. I'll never give up on you. And check back with me in a year or a month or whatever. I've got a lot of content out there, and this is how I have therapy. I'm my own therapist, kind of. It's pretty cool. It took a lot of sitting across from a real therapist to know how to do this. And a lot of times selling stuff to people on half-truths and feeling guilty and making lots of money and not making lots of money and raising a family and going through a divorce and all the things that make up someone's life. But at 49 years old, I feel like a kid still. I think I am a child, maybe. Nonetheless, adulthood is required at some point, I think, for me, because I plan to live at least to be 100. And what I do when I do a long, because this is a long, is I have an audience in my mind. Sometimes there's faces, sometimes there's lots of people, sometimes there's just one person. But you could be that one person, even if it's not you, it could be you. If you can relate, I find my voice and my speech delivery and my articulation and my use of the English language and all the cumulative things that have gone into that being as it is, 4 years of Latin in high school, different things, smoking marijuana to get through high school, all the things that make me who I am today. All my cells reproduce every 45 to 90 days. I'm a new me every 90 days. But the cumulative effect of me is what you're getting right here on today, June 14th, 2026 AD, or 5,786 years since Adam's. I want to memorize the months of the Israeli calendar. And I like to learn more about the Islamic calendar too. They're more into the moon. But when I'm talking to you, I'm giving you 208 hours product because you're going to pick up things. If you're an adroit listener like me, you're going to pick up things that are stunning. I go back and watch some of my videos and go, oh my God, that's it. Oh, thank God I recorded this because it's such a good idea. It's so right. No politicians out. I don't know politicians. I don't want to talk about politics, but I have to sometimes. Get out of my system. It's just entertainment. That's all it's become, and wasting money. But the getting it out of my system, I have to. What politician records their viewpoints today, and a year later goes back and goes, "Hey, I was wrong." How about Muhammad Ali in New York? He's going for it. I like effort. You can be on the most hated organization group thing. You can be pick a radical group. But man, if the effort's there, the execution's there, not execution like death. I mean, it could be, I guess, but I don't think that way. Maybe I'm naive. Maybe I'm naive, too naive to say that word, but it doesn't. Execution means go out and get the results that you predetermined you wanted to get, or better, and then evaluate. And if they're out, like the Houthis, there's a good example. I don't think it's not Sudan. It's whatever country the Houthis are, on the peninsula, south of Saudi Arabia. Those guys, Saudi Arabia had to keep them out of the Gaza war. They were coming. Now, if you don't respect the Houthis, you may not dislike them. They're a militant group, but man, they're legit. If they say they're going to come knock on your door at 5 a.m. and it's going to get resolved, be up, because they're coming. They're not going to come at 4:30. They're going to do what they said. They're going to. I hate to go to the end. They're going to die honorably. Okay, for their cause, because they know they represent a sect, a group of what they represent matters. What I can't stand is when people have given up to the point, or derelict to the point. Reprobate could be a word to you, that they don't think about the consequences of who and what they represent and how it impacts others, no matter how little impact or involvement or engagement they have with others. I'm not trying to talk down to people. When you can't use language or writing or reasoning somehow to get through to someone, It's frustrating. I find it very frustrating because everyone has utility. Where I'm from, you took as many hands as you could, and you tried to get it done. Maybe produce farming. That's what assembly. That's what I love about some of the migrant workers that we have today. They're first generation workers that we have today in the construction industry. Yeah, you see them standing around sometimes, but my gosh, there's, like my dad always says, Carson Smiley, credits Carson Smiley for this. Carson Smiley, what a great name. When you don't have anything else to do, grab a broom. And welfare causes such decay in the human condition, and I've experienced it firsthand. And I got hooked on it, didn't even know it. It's subtle. It's not like online gambling where you kind of know it's probably bad anyway, and or pornography. No, welfare. No, I'm going to go over there and get that free meal. Yeah. And then you start, it affects the area in which you live it. I don't want to go do that over there, which is a little bit of a stretch because I don't know where I'm going to eat because I got to be back in. I don't want to be hungry. I don't want to eat out of a trash can. I better stick around and get that free meal today. That's okay for a minute. I needed the nourishment. I needed the care. But now sometimes when I go get that free meal, I don't see anybody I recognize. What I mean by that is I'm used to looking at people like me that wear a collared shirt, can articulate the English language pretty high level, and are prosperous. That's most of my life. And people who will correct me. I remember Brad Schooley, the late Brad Schooley, a fellow attorney with my father. When we went to Canada fishing, it was me and my dad and Brad, Mr. Schooley. Brad was a great man. Is a great man. And I wore my hat while eating at the restaurant in the International Falls or Minneapolis, one of the two. I was in Minnesota at one airport at a meal. And he scolded me. And my dad didn't say shit. He didn't act like he even heard it. And I complied. And the meal carried on and nothing was said. But I didn't ever follow back up on that. Brad was never mean to me. But there was leadership, is my point. When you lack male leadership, you're so in trouble. I'm not saying a bunch of women can't do a bunch of things, but there has to be masculine, hopefully ethical and fit leadership. When there's not strong male leadership, things go awry with the male. And I'll never forget this video I saw of elephants. An elephant was going through a puberty type stage or over hormonal. He was going through the city tearing stuff up. He had lost his mind. He was out of control. And there's a lot to learn from the animal world, but we're created, we humans, we male humans. I largely talk to males. We are created to do certain things in our culture. And when that's absent, this thing is so far removed from its design incrementally that how far do you look back on your timeline? I live in my timeline my timeline starts about 6,000 years ago. That's about the earliest I could have had an ancestor. And what's developed over that time is a lot of things. But there was also a lot of things inherent and instilled in our design from the beginning. Why is that important? Well, there's also some books, some historical books, some really old ones that have been translated into different languages that are the only thing even remotely close to their kind. And you can look at them for your own interest and for your salvation and figure out where you're going to try to spend eternity. It's not a bad idea if you don't know the answer. Or you can just read them like they really happened, like David really did kill Goliath, because he did. Oh, skip the parting of the Red Sea if you want. Skip Jonah's whale's belly for 3 days if you want. Skip those. Or just chalk it up to hoodly-doo. Doesn't matter. But believe the history. Do you think Luke wrote a book called Luke, one of the 4 Gospels about Christ? I think he did. Here's one of the reasons I think he did. Because in the 3rd verse, in his introduction, see, they wrote differently back then. It was more articulate. He thanks Theophilus, who was a Roman governor or elected official or judge or he was part of the Roman government. And Luke went out of his way to write a letter, a very detailed account, and he took full credit for its accuracy. And Luke was a physician, so he was credible to start with. Not that all physicians are credible. You see my point? So if you're not curious what Luke had to say to Theophilus, who was this Theophilus guy, and why is Luke so concerned about the whole thing? Well, you know the Roman Colosseum is the largest monument dedicated to the crucifixion and sacrifice of Christian saints who were killed for believing that Jesus was the Messiah. They were killed by everyone but their own sin. I mean, Jews killed them. That means Romans killed them. That means Gentiles killed them. That means people who look like Muslims killed them. They went to see it in the Colosseum. Finally, it ended 300 some years later. But that wasn't pretty. But now I have grand visions of Rome and those empires in Greece and those times, even though Nero burnt down Rome, different things Vesuvius had. Those were grand times. Those were some of the highlights of Gentile civilization. Still are. Look what they built. But those things decay. What doesn't decay is the timeline. It's solid. It's only 2,000 years ago. If you think millions and billions and hundreds of thousands and put human on that time frame, you're so far off that your foundation isn't built on sand, it's built on invisible air. And you've got rocks floating on air. And when something happens, you think you need a stable foundation. And your starting point is such that if you don't have an understanding of the KJV, you just say the English language Christian Bible, you could say that if you want. Read the King James Version of the English language Bible to get the truth. You get the real way it was supposed to be written in English. And you've got a masterpiece of history that you can use to shore up your foundation. It's like anything. If you start off something and there's a flaw in it, all you're doing every day, the harder you work, the more effective you think you are, all the ways you're justifying whatever you're doing, it's getting worse every day. It has to. Because it's a timeline. Everything is on a timeline. Folks, sir, madam. And I'm telling you, what does God think of the death penalty? Well, it's written down. Or what does the Christian God think of the death penalty? And the Jewish God, because it's in the Jewish Bible too. It's just silly. But there's Hebrew. Their language was first. Okay? When you know language was confounded and it was inherent in the design of humans, and then it got mixed up to where everybody had different languages all of a sudden and couldn't communicate anymore. That's a rough one to miss. Okay? That's bad, as far as I'm concerned. If I'm working with you and I know I have such an advantage over you, I don't think like that anymore. I can't. I was sickened by the advantage I had over people. Because everything's true that I come to validate as true. If you think that Christians are on track right now because they've got Jesus Christ and they know how to say Jesus Christ and they know how to look at you and go, if you don't have Jesus Christ, you're in trouble. If you think that's what Christians have got right now, learn about a remnant. Moses talked directly with God. Moshe talked directly with God. You get anyone Jewish that knows anything that has a rabbi, they're going to go like this after they hear what I'm getting ready to say. And when they were out in the desert and Israel was really withdrawing from God's direct intervention and involvement, God, the golden calf, Moshe had to get the tablets twice. He broke them the first time because of the golden calf. And God said, Moses, don't worry. I've reserved 7,000 that have not knelt to the feet, have not bowed before Baal. Baal was a false god. And there was estimates at the time of 650,000 men in the nation of Israel, in the desert. And 7,000, God said, don't worry, we have 7,000. Now, if you know that, like I know it, and know it's 100% true, then you're working with somebody that doesn't know that, the disadvantage that they have, it's why money's not my thing. I'd rather deal with truth and information. Let the chips fall where they may. I'm going to eat good today. I have enough food for 2 weeks. None of it's perishable that I'm not going to eat. I have so much nutrients lined up and so much The weather's going to be the weather. I can kind of sense it's coming. I don't know why I'd want to be in anything man-made right now. I like the God-made background. There's a peach tree over here. Some bugs eating on it. It's okay. There's going to be some peaches. Those are the things that are foundationally important to me, because that's what we needed to be, is what came natural. What was this design of this orb that you're in matters. And if all you're in is in a house, a car, an office, and a gymnasium, you can have a pretty good life. You really can. But go lay in your grass, or go lay on somebody's grass. Go to a park and lay down for a while. See if any ants come on you. And ask yourself, where did the ant come from? And why is it here? What's under that ground anyway? If you live in the United States, if you're American, first of all, you're fortunate. I'm American. And you know about the Midwest and then the cicadas, the broods, different broods of cicada. We made trillions of cicadas come up out of the ground. They happened about 3 years ago in Indiana, 4 years ago, 2022. There was trillions of them that came up. Where are they? They stand there for 12 years and 14 years. They have different cycles. These genius scientists know this. And these cicadas are down there working right now, or hibernating something. There's things down there probably eating on the... There's 3 trillion of them that came up, they said. Trillion. More money than Elon Musk has. And why is that? Does that make you want to stay inside? Because you got a bunch of cicadas in the ground? A brood? Isn't that a fascinating word? I want to look it up now. Aren't you curious about what you don't know? If you're spending all your time justifying and telling yourself how great you're doing, nothing but 280 hours could be a benefit for it. If you can stand me, I'm trying not to cuss. I just smoke when I need to, when I want to, when I have one. You know how often I smoke? Whenever I have one. And it's in my mouth and it's lit. I might smoke 50 cigarettes a day. I might smoke 3. I don't know. But they don't hurt me. Not yet. I might have lung cancer. I doubt it. But when I start to get winded, I'm going to get running shoes and start running again. If I can't get out there and run, I'll quit smoking. It's not that important, because I'll go start looking for something that's been created out here that I've been missing. And when I start to do that, I find everything. It's overwhelming at times, and I want to share it with you. I want 208 hours to be something that you want to emulate and do for. That's the thing I haven't told anybody yet. I want you to plagiarize me, and you do it, and do it better than me, because I didn't create anything. I'm just adding on to what I've got. And sometimes it's not fair, because the rest of the world around me sometimes is just not there. They're so not present. You can imagine what I have to say about the word money. But if you can't define words, KJV defines words for it, and you're using the wrong word for the wrong thing, like money, ouch. I'm trying to help. And I'm trying to do it in a way that's not offensive. You need to offend yourself a little bit. And this is called Kaizen. It's this pursuit of perfection, which you never reach. I could say it's the Toyota operating model if you want, which it is. I prefer to talk about Mr. Ono than Mr. Toyota. Mr. Toyota's right-hand man was Taiichi Ono, Taiichi Ohno. Womack and Jones in the Lean Thinking column introduced the book by calling out Taiichi Ono and referring to him as the most ferocious foe of waste human history has ever known. That's my kind of guy. I want to learn about him. I want to shut Vance up for a minute and stop talking to myself. Stop thinking. And I want to put all my thoughts in it. Can I become Taiichi Ono? And so I get in the trash business. You know where trash is? Go find someone and pick it up. Call me and let me know if it's really trash or not when you put it through the trash test. See, we'll make stuff up. We'll have fun. This is it's 20 minutes. You know how valuable it is that you watch this? I can't tell you. I can't tell you how valuable. Because if you can't see the genuine nature in which I'm presenting the truth, these are truths. If you don't believe in absolute truth, you probably hate me. What I'm telling you is absolutely true. 7,000 out of 650,000, and God was happy with that, or pleased at least. He overcame Moses' objection. He thought so highly of Moshe. He overcame his objection. He gave his brother Aaron a important seat because of Moses' lack of faith. It's great stuff, guys. Love you. Bye.